and today I'm going to be reading you The People of Sparks, Chapter 23. This has been a request from my teacher. Let's get cozy. Alright, let's get started. Chapter 23, Getting Ready for War. The announcement shocked the people of Ember. That evening they swarmed through the halls of the Pioneer Hotel in an uproar. People wept and shouted and moaned in the lobby. Dune encountered a group of people embroiled in a huge argument. "It's the fault of that Hastur boy," shouted someone. "He was the one who started the riot. He was egging the people on." "No, he stood up for us. He gave them what they deserved," cried someone else. "He's a troublemaker. He's a hero." Dune stared up the stairs. Halfway up, he passed Lizzie, her face flushed with excitement. She grabbed his arm. He won't let them kick us out," she said. "Will he?" "Will who?" said Dune. "Tick. I'm sure he'll save us. He's so brave, isn't he? He'll make them change their minds." She hurried on down the stairs. It was many hours before the people went to sleep that night. The noise in the hallways went on and on. Some people wailed as they thought that they were going to die, and others vowed to fight, and others gathered up their belongings and stuffed them into sacks. Sage was so frightened by what was happening that he curled up in the corner with his blanket over his head. But Dune and his father and Edward Pocket sat talking for a long time. "I don't see how we could make a town from nothing out in the empty lands," said Dune. I don't believe they ever thought we could. We'd starve trying to do it. We can't go. They can't make us." His father, who sat leaning against the wall with his knees up, shook his head sadly. "I don't know," he said. "This weapon they have, they could use that to force us out." "But what could it be?" Dune said. "Just one weapon? I don't understand it." "To be effective," said Edward Pocket in his most modern tone, "a weapon must come into contact with the person or persons it's used against. This question is, how can one weapon be effective against 400 people? My guess is that it's something very large, could make us fall on us and crush us." "But where would they hide if it's that large?" asked Dune. "It would have to be as big as a mountain." "It could be an animal," said Dune's father. "They might have in a cage in the basement of the town hall. Something very fierce that they would let loose on us." "Or it might be something like the poison oak, only worse," said Dune. "Some sort of poison that they could spray at us." His father nodded thoughtfully. "Yes," he said, "that could be it." "But father," said Dune, "we have to fight them, don't you think? No matter what the weapon is, we just can't just leave. It's so unfair." Edward Pocket, who had been sitting cross-legged on the floor, scrambled to his feet. He clenched both of his fists and raised them up as he's ready to pound someone. "I'm not leaving," he shouted. Let them try and make me. I'll chain my leg to their big old tree." From under his blanket, Sage moaned. "Besides," Edward went on, "I have work to do here. They need me. They need all of us." He sat down again. "Probably tomorrow they'll change their minds." "I don't think so," said Dune's father. "That Ben sounded serious to me." "So what do you do then, father?" asked Dune. "We fight, don't we?" Dune's father sighed. He stretched his long legs out in front of him and stared down at his knees. "Think about what it would mean to fight," he said. "Say we barricade ourselves in here in the hotel and refuse to leave. They come at us with their weapon, whatever it is. Some of us are hurt, some die. We go out to meet them with whatever weapons we can find. Sticks, maybe pieces of broken glass. We battle each other." He ran his head across his head and sighed. "Maybe they set fire to the hotel. Maybe we march into the village and steal food from them and they come after us and beat us. We beat them back. In the end, maybe we damage them so badly that they're too weak to make us leave. What do we do? What do we have? Friends, neighbors, and families dead. A place half destroyed, and those left in full hatred for us. And we ourselves will have to live with the memory of terrible things that we have done. Dune pictured this all as his father spoke. He hadn't really imagined what fighting would be like. But still, he said, at least some of us would survive, and we'll have a place to live. If we go out into the empty lands, we all die. His father just shook his head. I don't know, Dune. I have to admit, I just don't know what we should do. I know what I'm going to do, said Edward Pocket. What? Said Dune. Go to bed, said Edward. He stamped up over his closet and crawled in. Wake me up, he said, when you've got this all figured out. An hour or so later, the noise of marching sounded in the hallway. The thump of knocks on doors, one after the other. Tick's voice rang out. Calling all fighters, he shouted. Calling all fighters. All those who refuse to be banished, meet at the head of the road. We must make our plan. The footsteps passed Dune and heard the same message repeated farther down the hall and farther yet. He put his clothes on and shoes back on in spite of what his father had said. He didn't think the people of Embers should agree so quietly out into the wilderness. Somehow they must resist, and Tick was the only one with a plan. The hall was full of people, a few of them murmuring quietly to each other, most of them silent. All were heading for the stairs. Outside, the night was warm, but a restless wind stirred in the trees, and scraps of cloud flew across the stars. With the others, Dune headed for the meeting place. Tick stood in a patch of moonlight, the dense shrubbery behind him. The people had gathered around. He held up his rod and whispering died away. Listen carefully, Tick said. He spoke in a level voice, not loudly, but every word was sharp and clear. The day we've been ordered to leave, the day after tomorrow, we will assemble at dawn at the front of the hotel. Have your weapons with you. There are still many people who haven't made up their minds to fight, and a few are ready to go meekly into the empty lands, following orders. We want to change their minds. Flash your weapons. Shout out our battle cry. We will not go. Remind them of the black words of hatred scrawled in the mud on the plaza on the walls of our hotel, and the poison leaves on the doorstep. We will make those cowards ashamed of their weakness. We will make them understand that obedience to evil commands is a disgrace. Most of them, maybe all of them, will join us. And once they have, we will march into the village, loud and defiant and strong in our plaza. We will confront the town leaders and make our demands. A few people raised their fists and shouted approval. What are our demands? Dune asked. He was standing at the front of the crowd, just a few feet from Tick. They are these, said Tick. We demand to be full citizens of the town, not cast out into the wilderness. We demand to be properly fed. We demand decent places to stay. We demand to end unfair rules and insults. These seemed like reasonable things to ask for, Dune thought. And if they refuse to agree to our demands, then, of course, we fight. But they have the terrible weapon that they talk about, said Dune. What about that? Others echoed his question. Yes, what about it? Tick smiled. His teeth showed white in the moon. They have one weapon, he said. We have many, and each weapon in their right hands. It is an engine of power. His voice grew louder. We will attack them, he cried, like this! He raised his steel rod and brought it slashing down so that the air whistled around it. The end cut into the ground. He raised it again and whipped it back and forth, striking the tree trunks so hard he gashed their bark. He whirled around and battered the bushes behind them. "You cannot defeat us!" he cried to an imaginary enemy. "Right is on our side. We will have your blood. We will break your bones." He went into a frenzy of stabbing and slicing, thrashing wildly among the bushes. Leaves flew, twigs snapped, something fluttered and fell down. Dune saw it, and so did Tick. He stopped for a moment and glanced down. At his feet was a half-grown baby bird that must have been huddled up deep within the bushes. It flopped onto his side, beak gasping. "You see," Tick cried, "the enemy falls at my feet." He raised his rod. With one blow, Dune stepped forward and grabbed Tick's arm. "Don't," he said. Tick tried to pull away, then he relaxed and lowered his weapon. He grinned. "Okay, I think it's dead anyhow." He stuck the toe of his shoe beneath the bird and flapped it away in the grass. "But you get the idea," he said, turning back to his warriors. "Imagine hundreds of us doing that. We'll be unbeatable." His face was alight with glee. And that was when Dune's vague, uneasy feeling came together in one clear understanding. Tick wants war. The thought of war excites him and makes him happy, but not me. The thought of war makes me sick. Dune parted from Tick that night. He walked back to the hotel and stared up slowly, his heart heavy. He didn't know what he was going to do. The day after tomorrow, all he knew is that he did not want Tick for his commander. He would command himself. Thanks for watching. If you want to learn how to do other cool things, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.